Hello folks, my name is Tony Jack and you're watching Jack English, and I have decided to start the new rubric Jackie Walks or Jackie Walkings. In this rubric I will be walking down this city, Chita, and tell you the story of the history of our city, its districts and the places of interest. So today is September 14th 2018, and I have decided to start from the very eastern part of our city. It is Sosnoviy Bor. In English it sounds like a pine tree forest or pinery, and let's fucking begin it. So as if you can see, we stand on the eastern edge of our city. You can see the forest, the pine forest behind this fencing, and it is the edge of Sosnoviy Bor pinery district. It is a micro district. Yeah, but before that I will just tell you a little bit about the history of our town. I want to sorry for my nasal voice because I've got a sniff in my nose. I caught cold a little bit. That's why my voice sounds like that. So before that I want to tell you a brief history about our city. So now we are in Chita city. It is situated in the eastern Siberia, about 1,000 kilometers far from Lake Baikal, and 500 kilometers far from the Chinese border, the eastern border. And this city was founded in 1653, and it got the status of a city in 1851, as long as I remember, you know what I'm saying. The population is about 316 or 20,000 people. And as you can see, it is September the 14th, and it's pretty cold. It is about 7 degrees above zero, and I'm walking down the Sosnoviy Bor. So, and as you can see, Sosnoviy Bor consists of 5 stair houses, panel houses, and also, as you can see, these houses are all panel. As you can see, it is situated on a slope. I will tell you more about that a little bit later. And before that, I want to send the greeting to my homie. His name is Dictator UAV. Anton, this is your fucking entrance. You are living here. And by the way, my father's childhood was also spent in this pretty 5-stair house. When he was a little boy, he was living in this house. So, in the 19th century, here was the pine tree forest, and it was a rocky slope full of different rocks and the stones, and all these rocks and stones were used for constructing and building the houses in the center of old city. After that, when the stones and rocks were finished, it was used for the slaughterhouses. It was one huge urban slaughterhouse, and a lot of animals, for example pigs, cows and many others, were killed right here for the food supply, for meat supply, for the city. I must say, nobody knows, I suppose that nobody knows that the slaughterhouses were here in the beginning of 20th century. It was in the beginning. So, and after that, when the slaughterhouses were knocked down, a lot of local people were settled here. They were building wooden houses and living here, and a lot of wooden houses are still, we can see in this neighborhood area. I will show them to you. And after that, the government of our city decided to make the first micro district right here. So they knocked down all the old buildings and decided to make the first micro district. And as you can see, I'm just going down the slope. You can see the water tower. Yeah. So it is a so-called monument of these old times when the wooden houses were here, and this water tower was supplying these houses with water, with pure water. And now it's just standing in the middle of this micro district, and it is just a monument of the history, I must say. So we continue to go down. By the way, this street is called after the first cosmonaut, the first astronaut Юрий Гагарин. Пацаны, где вас познают тут, а?
Познаю, это получается конечная остановка.
Ага.
И там надо будет прийти, вон тот дом, видите?
Пятиэтажка?
Да, вот пятиэтажка. И вот так, если прийти, за конечную остановку,
Там она, да? So I have come to the terminal point where the trolley buses and taxi buses they are waiting for their passengers, and they start their mesh routes out of here. So I'm coming up, and at the same time I was hurt, I was sad. A lot of people told me about that. That's not far from here. They've got the Boozer Cafe, where I can try the most delicious boozes in the city, and that's why I'm gonna try them. I cross the road, so you can see the terminal bus stop, the terminal trolley bus stop right here. Oh God, it's very cold today. Next time I will take my gloves with me. It's a fight club. Okay, I see it. Бурятская кухня. I see it. Okay. People say that the most delicious boozes are right here. There's a lot of space, a lot of room, I must say. Okay, as you can see, it was overcrowded. There were so little space, and a lot of people, they are waiting for their boozes, and I have decided to quit. Okay, maybe next time I will try them. So I continue to speak about the history of this micro district. So first of all, I want to say that the names of the streets. So as I have told, Gagarin Street, it was named after the first cosmonaut. So also here we've got Silikatная Street. It is silicate. It was named after the silicate plant, which is situated in Antipyha district, not far from here. And this silicate plant was supplying the city with the bricks, and new buildings and houses were constructed with these bricks made by this silicate plant. And also we have Ukrainian Boulevard, Ukrainsky Boulevard, and Belaruskaya Street. So we can see it was named after the nations which were in the Soviet Union and the Soviet state. And oh, by the way, barracks. Barak in Russian it sounds like Barak, not Barack Obama, but it is wooden multi-flat wooden houses. I would call them in such way, you know what I'm saying? And it is also the so-called the stain of a history. And by the way, I have heard that local citizens of Sosnoviy Bor, they call these barracks the local Brooklyn. Probably it's true, maybe it's false. I even don't know how to say. So also you can see the new buildings. They were built in the maybe in the beginning of 21st century, maybe 7 or about 10 years ago. So because during the construction, during the building, during the creation of this micro district, there were a lot of gaps, a lot of gaps. And for example, firstly, the first houses, they appeared in the lower part of this district, and the more new houses were appeared in Ukrainsky Boulevard, Belaruskaya Street, and the latest, I suppose, were on Gagarina Street. So now I have turned to very short, brief, I must say, street. It is called Koreyskaya Street, Korean Street. There were a lot of Korean, Chinese, and also Japanese people, and they were building also houses. They were prisoners of war, I suppose. I'm not a historian, that's why I don't know, but I suppose so. So, and this is Koreyskaya Street, and I must say that Koreyskaya Street has got only one house. This is Koreyskaya Street, house number 4. There are no other houses and buildings that are concerned to this Koreyskaya Street. All other houses are Belaruskaya, Ukrainsky Boulevard, and so on. Okay, so I reached the crossing of 3 streets. It is Koreyskaya Street right here, Ukrainsky Boulevard right here, and there where the taxi bus come out, it is Alec Street. So I will go down the alley on Ukrainian Boulevard. It is it is famous for its alley. Okay, these are the local citizens. In Russian they call govniks, but they didn't hijack me, happily. So I'm going down the alley. It was the first big construction site in the 60s after the World War years, you know, so a lot of young people were also occupied in these construction sites. By the way, I'm going down this alley, and as my great grandma, she's got a wooden house, her own wooden house, and my great grandpa also lived in a little wooden house right here on this alley. Yeah, it's somewhere right here. It was standing right here, but it was knocked down, and they moved to Gagarina Street, and they finished their living there. Okay, so I'm going down the Ukrainian Boulevard. As you can see, weather today is pretty cold. It's chill, so it's a chilly wind. Not very icy, but very chill. Okay, you can see your brick houses on the right and panel houses on the left. You can see these pretty flowers, and this is the fire department, one of many fire departments in our city. And this is Kirova Street. It was named after the Soviets. Well, I came up to the professional technical college. In Russian it sounds PTU. And in opposite, across the street, across the road, I see the market V10. So a lot of people come here and make bargains. They buy food, grocery, meats, and so on. And from this place, from the this point, Babushkina Street, one of the longest central streets of Chita, take a start. Yeah, it starts right here at these crossroads, Babushkina Street, Babushkin Street. So I'm going down the Babushkin Street, and before speaking about its history, I want to say that this is the puppet theater, the only puppet theater in our city. And also you can see the brick houses. This is the order center. Okay, so I will tell you a little bit about the history of the street. This street is named after the Soviet revolutionists. One of the Soviet revolutionists, Ivan Vasilievich Babushkin. He was born somewhere in Vologda region and died in a small town in Buryatia when he was only 33 years old. Okay. Girls with eggs. Chinese? They probably speak English. There are a lot of cities in Russia that have streets named after this revolutionist Ivan Babushkin. So this is the circle on Barguzinskaya and Babushkina Street, and I want to show you one interesting thing. This is the extra stair. I remember when it was just building, and I was never understanding what the fuck, for fuck's sake, they do this. I suppose apartments and flats are not pretty good on the roof. I suppose they are pretty cold, not so warm as the lower ones. So this is such an interesting way to expand the room and space for people's living, I suppose so. Okay, you can see the Chinese constructors. They are making the fencing right here. Say hello. 你好，你说韩语吗? Okay, don't interfere me. Yeah, I'm just working down here. Okay, fuck you. Okay, I'm go on walking down. The first mall on my way, El Dorado. It is situated on Babushkina Street. And by the way, my grandmother, she's been living in this 5-story building house, brick house, and I remember when this space was placed by wooden houses, and I was walking here when I was a kid. And also all these houses, they didn't exist, and I remember my grandmother was living on the 5th floor, and right from the balcony, by the way, it is this very balcony, yeah, my granny was living there. I had seen the memorial of Khalkhin Gol. It is situated on Petrovska-Zavodskaya Street. It is one block up, and I could see it. But then these buildings were built, and they just blocked the opportunity to view this memorial complex, memorial park. I have decided to come back and go down the Barguzinska street because I have reminded one interesting historical fact about our city, and it happened in the beginning of the 20th century. As you can know, as you can remember, there was a Russian Empire at those times, and young prince, in Russian they called it Tsarevich. His name was Nikolai II. He was the last emperor, but at those times, in the beginning of 20th century, he was a so-called prince, and he made a trip through the Russian Empire, and he was visiting our city. By the way, this is Chkalov Street. It is named after the famous Soviet pilot. He was a Soviet hero during the World War II, the Great Patriotic War. But I will talk about this street a little bit later. Okay, so I'm going down Barguzinska Street, and I'm coming to the crossing with Angarska Street. And what this crossing is famous for, I must say, it is famous for the historical event that happened during the visit of last Russian emperor. He was Tsarevich at those times, I repeat. So, and he was just coming in our city, and especially for this event, government and people, they build wooden arch. And the Tsarevich, he had passed, I must say, through this arch and continued his way right towards the Women's Orthodox Convent. Okay, here it is, the crossing of Barguzinska and Angarska streets, and right here in this neighborhood, in this area, this arch was standing. So here is the historical fact, I must say. The last Russian emperor was just passing this street. I'm passing it right now. So it is the real history right under my feet. Right under my feet. Okay, and I suppose that more people will know about that, and they probably will be a little bit proud maybe for this. Like, for example, when I was walking down the streets of St. Petersburg, the history was everywhere. So in our city we also have such places and streets where we can feel the history, but not in such amount not in such quantity that we can do it, for example, in St. Petersburg at the same time. Okay, so I will make a little bit zoom, and you will see the Pushkin's Library and December Square. I'm going right straight there. Okay, and before that I want to say about this building. Now they've got fitness clubs, children shops, and also supermarket right here, Caravan, as you can see. And it is a building of former sewing factory. For example, my grandmother has been working there for many years, and it was a great enterprise, I must say. But during the post-Soviet times, a lot of enterprises were bankrupt, and this building and this enterprise had the same fate, I must say. So we reached the square of Nessembrist. This square was lately, it was reconstructed lately, so it was repaved, as you can see, because before that it was paved with the gravestones from the old urban cemetery that was situated a little bit higher, a little bit up to the block from Babushkin Street. Maybe I will have time and to speak about that. I will get more information about that, okay, more precisely, more exactly. And now you can see that it is still been reconstructed, and new places, and new, for example, I don't know what it is, and what this is, the library. It is named after the great Russian writer Alexander Pushkin. And you can see that the face of this square has changed. Nowadays it is very popular among our citizens. A lot of young mothers with their kids, also families, they come here and they relax, they chill, they chat, and they just walk here. And they've got also the alley of famous people. I will show you them. Okay, and the first one is Alec Linstrom, musician. He was a conductor of jazz ensemble. He was very famous in different countries. Tashin Amdakov, he's an artist, he's a sculptor. Okay. Next one is Yuri Solomin. He was an actor, famous. He is an actor. He's still alive. Soviet actor and Russian actor. His brother Vitaly Solomin, he was also an actor, and unfortunately he has died. Next one is Alexander Mikhailov. All these people, they were born in Chita, I must say. Alexander Mikhailov is also our famous actor. He was born here. He very often visits our city, the International Festival. And Viktor Shkulov, he's a businessman, and he was born, I suppose, in Ulyoty or Krasny Chukoy, I don't know exactly. And Joseph Kabzon, he has died recently, and he was a famous Soviet and Russian singer, but he made a lot of for Aginsky Buryatsky autonomous area. Okay. And as you can see, the library, Pushkin's library. Okay, so you can see for example, young girls. They just sit here, they chat, speak about different affairs and deeds, and at the same time. But today it is pretty cold, and that's why nobody is here. No. Okay, folks, that's all for today. Next time I will try to find more interesting place and to tell you about this, and I hope that weather will be much better than today. I wear a cap, but now I put it off. So thank you very much. It was Jackie Walks and Jackie English. I suppose you have improved your listening and knew more about the history of our city. And please make, repost, subscribe the channel, and be well, I must say. It was Jack English, real deal, pal. See you.